Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Johnny Davis Live. We're here on this May 30th of 2025 here for a great show. We're going to have a fun conversation with two guys from this great state of Tennessee. First, we'll be talking to Mr. Mike Ely, who's an IKF PKB and IKF rep over in Tennessee, and then one of our promoters there, Mr. Kevin. They call him KC. Rogers there got a big promotion coming up on June 27th. It should be a lot of fun. He has a lot of big plans for that area, and we're glad to have him on board, of course, with the IKF and all. But a couple of quick announcements that we want to, bring to your attention today. First of all, the IKF World Classic is, of course, coming up only in, about a month and a half now. And it should be a great event for everybody as well. It's going to be on July the 18th through the 20th. We have some great full contact fights approaching right at 200 competitors right now. And I think that it's going to be a great event. That's the way we like it, in that somewhere in that area there. I think that it's going to be some great fights because we have people coming from so many states. I can't even name them all. And I think that, being in the um, fight capital of the world, if you will. I just cannot believe that it's not going to be a great event. In fact, on last year, we had the event there, and we had a lot of people saying a lot of great things about it. In fact, I know one guy saying, "Hey, yeah, I only brought like two guys last time, but this time I'm bringing about 15 or 20." And so he was excited. He loved the format. He loved the way we do it, the lights, the music, and all of that. And I think that is just kind of the way we need to do it in Las Vegas. After all, it is Las Vegas. So we want to make it something special for the fighters and all. We do have some confirmed super fights as well. As I mentioned earlier, I think that those are going to be great. We have a couple of kid fight in particular. Davison versus Flores, like 11 and 12-year-old kids, but these guys have proven themselves and all. We think that is going to be awesome. And we've also confirmed Gianni and Weeks, which is also going to be a 7-round full rule Muay Thai fight. Yep, you heard it right. 7 rounds. IKF World title fight. 7 rounds, 7 rounds. And to say that again, it's not, uh, you know, and it's going to be a great event. We've already done 9 round fights, so 9 round full Muay Thai fights and all. And so I think it's going to be really great and entertaining for everybody. So listen, do not hesitate. Get registered. This is what's happening on this Sunday. This Sunday, a couple of things are happening. The price is going to change. That's a big thing, right? So that's a reason to go ahead and get registered. And on Monday, fighters can start in single brackets, can start condensing, meaning that if they're in a single bracket, they want to move to another bracket where there are fighters and stuff like that. They are going to be able to do that. So right now, you might see them. On Monday, they might be gone, right? So that's why. But if they have an opponent, they can't move out of their division. So you need to go ahead and get registered. It's going to be important for you to go ahead and get registered so that people will see that fight. Now, after that, registration is still going to be open after Monday. People can still register and all of that. But there's just going to be, like I said, fighters are going to be condensed, and the price is going to get higher as the event gets closer. That is our ICAF World Classic coming up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that's July 18th through the 20th. Get registered. IKFFightPlatform.com is where you're going to be able to find all of that great information. All right, guys, I could keep going and just keep going and just keep going, but I'm not. I'm going to bring up my first guest here. I'm going to chat with Mr. Mike Ely. Mike Ely is, again, our IKF PKB and IKF, simple IKF's rep. He's going to be the full contact rep over there as well. And we want to bring him up and chat with him a little bit. And then we're going to bring up Mr. KC Rogers and have a little conversation with him as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Johnny Davis Live, Mike Ely. How the heck are you, Mike?
Johnny, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mike, we've been working together for a few years now.
We have been.
Yeah, talk to me about how we met and how we eventually made this thing happen.
Um, I had, of course, I've been aware of you for years. I've followed the IKF since the early 2000s. And then when I decided I wanted to get back into promotion, PKB really caught my eye. I love PKB. I'm a big supporter of it. I'm a big believer in what we do. I've seen it firsthand now since we've been together about 3 years in promoting the
Mm,
PKB tournaments. And I've seen several athletes that started on our shows, on our PKB shows, go on to flourish as full contact fighters, both kickboxers and MMA fighters. I've seen guys, MMA guys, come into the PKB to polish their stand up and work their stand up, and it works wonderful for that. I've seen awesome youth matches, little kids that kind of cross over from the karate world into our PKB world, and they flourish and they have a great match and a great time. I'm a big supporter and believer in what we do there. And the full contact is just a very natural extension on from that. So I'm really excited to be working with KC on this. We have a dynamite show coming up, a huge show, massive fights on this card. It's going to be one of the best cards that has been in this area in years.
right. Well, I mean that's awesome. That's what it's all about. You talk about the PKB. You talk about the semi-contact. You've been involved with some other organizations, some other fight leagues, and things like that over the years. But what about this in particular fight style and the way we do it that really attracted you?
Well, to circle back to the PKB for a
You
second,
can
with
lean back just a little bit too, Mike. You can
oh,
lean back so
my
you can be
bad.
more into the camera. That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. You're cutting. You might want to pull your camera down just a little bit. You're kind of cutting part of your head off. I see you trying to get that Tennessee combat back there, but that's fine too. That's great. Go ahead. You're good.
um, well, with PKB, it mimics a real fight in such a way that karate tournaments just don't replicate what a kickboxing fight is like a PKB does. And as well, you don't take the risk that you do with a full contact fight. So it's not like getting into a smoker or something which might be a little less regulated. With a PKB, you're
Right.
guaranteed you're going to have medical people there. You're guaranteed it's going to be insured. You're guaranteed that all of your judges and all of your officials are going to be qualified and competent. That your referees, no, I know with my shows and with the shows that KC has promoted as well. Our referees for our PKB fights are all referees for full contact fights as well. Uh,
Mm,
you know,
mm.
we really take the time to build up a good team of officials. All of our judges have experience. They are in the ring and out of the ring as fighters and as coaches. Um, and we really try to bring that full contact experience to a semi contact format, to a format where you're not going to take any unnecessary risks. You don't have to fight quite as long. A lot of these matches are 90 seconds. We do have some 2 minute matches. Of course, they're 2 rounds and a third if you
Hmm.
need to go to a third if they have a tie situation between round one and round two. But it really does make kickboxing and fighting accessible to a group of people that I think helps to broaden that sport. And then, if you do really good in PKB, you get a little taste of it, and you decide you want to go further, it makes it an easy transition into full contact. And you come into that full
How,
contact ring so much more
mhm.
polished than you would if you just
how,
started there.
right, right. How serious are we about the no knockout rule?
Oh, we are very serious.
Some people just say it. Some organizations just say it, right? They just say it, and how serious are we about that?
I can in all of these shows now that I've promoted or been a part of as an official, um, I can tell you that not only are we serious about it, um, all the fighters seem to be serious about it as well. The referees are serious about it as an organization, from the top up to the top down. Uh, we are very serious about that. But that does not take away from the intensity of the match. These
Right,
feel like real fights. In fact, I was talking one of our referees, who was a great coach, good buddy of mine. Uh, uh, we were talking to another coach at the last PKB fight. And he said, "Look, my guys spar 5 6 minute rounds for 2 hours a day. They
right.
come out of here after 2 rounds and they're sucking wind harder. That's the intensity is there. But what's
Right.
not there is the risk of concussion. It's not the risk of injury, the risk of getting knocked out. Worst case scenario, you might have a bruise, but that's
Right.
as extreme as the injury is going to get.
Well, I mean, injuries can happen, and we know that. And yeah, you could get concussed. I mean, you could get hit. I mean, things do happen over time. But our goal as officials is to try to prevent that as much as possible. And I think overall we've done a pretty good job in keeping fighters safe across the country. I mean, we have events with hundreds of fighters in it, and trying to keep them safe is not easy. But I think you really, really, truly have to be serious about that particular no knockout rule. Now that we have a full contact promoter over there, before we bring him up, um, tell me what you think the overall idea of semi-contact in the Muay Thai and the kickboxing has done for the Tennessee area, and what it could possibly do in the future.
I can tell you right now. I just since I believe our first show together was October of 2022, and since then I have watched a revitalization of kickboxing and Muay Thai. I've seen the amount of kickboxing and Muay Thai fights on other cards begin to go up. I have seen the skill level of the Muay Thai and the kickboxing fighters radically
Mm,
improved just within that short amount of time. Because now we have
mm,
guys who are starting out on this tournament circuit. Uh, they're learning about the holes in their game without ever having to get in a ring and get beat up in front of
right,
other people. It works
right,
beautifully, and by the time they do take that walk out there for their first real fight, they're so polished and so poised. And I can watch a guy who might have three, four, five PKB fights walk to the ring, and he is going to look and like a fighter who has had a couple of full contact fights. He's going to be poised.
listen,
His
Mike, that's part of why we get in trouble with some other organizations, right? So what do you think about the idea that these sparring matches, right? They're sparring matches,
oh, they
right?
100% are.
Competitively, right? They're sparring matches, but they're competitive.
And that's
Some
so.
organizations try to count these as real fights. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out a little bit. I was agreeing with you, but then I didn't quite hear what you just said. Well, no, and I
Yeah, I
can
was just saying that you have
understand how it
some
might seem. I say I can understand if you just look at it one time, it might seem a little confusing, but these guys are not fighting. They are not going anywhere near full contact. Uh, what they are getting is the competitive experience. I can spar for hours a day with my friends in the gym that I train with 7 days a week. It's nothing like a fight. But now, if I go to
right,
somebody else's gym and spar, I don't know this guy. You know what I mean? There's naturally a little bit of competition right then and there. And then when you put in a referee, and then when you put in a crowd that's watching, you have an intense competition, but you still have two guys. They know why they're there. They might be car salesmen or accountants or school teachers, and they're there on a Saturday. But come Monday, they've got a real job that they can't go into all beat up. Nobody's trying to knock each other
right,
out. Nobody's trying to put each other down.
right,
They know they're there for points,
right,
not power. They're there to score on technique. And it's really a wonderful scenario. It's definitely not a fight, but it is the quintessential form of sparring because it's sparring that gives you real
right.
live feedback.
Right. Well, tell me, what has this done for you as an individual? Becoming our rep in Nashville. How does that make you feel that you are giving back to the community in this way? Something you probably always want to do, and maybe have always done.
Oh, I love it. I really take this job very seriously. This is really the side of the kickboxing and martial arts world that I'd like to be in. I'm a huge fan and lover of kickboxing, Muay Thai as well, striking in general, karate, taekwondo also. But I love to be part of the IKF because I love what the IKF stands for. We really run a very, very tight ship. We have all the way back since Steve Fossum was in charge. And then that impressed me way, way back in the day, in the early 2000s, when I was just a kid, didn't know anything. What I was able to recognize and realize that if we did IKF shows, there was a uniformity there. You know what I mean? Like I could go to other shows and maybe one promoter run things differently than a different promoter, but with an IKF show, everything was ran the same. Didn't matter if it was in St. Louis, if it was in Alabama, if it was in Georgia or South Carolina, wherever we went, we had a nearly the same experience. I knew the judging
Right.
was going to be on point. I knew the referees were going to be about, on point, but everything was going to be uniform. And it filled me then in my 20s with a lot of confidence. And on through my 30s and now to be a part of that organization, I'm extremely proud. And that's something that I want to take with me into the future, that I want to make sure here in Tennessee, we have the best kickboxing shows. We have the best Muay Thai shows. We have the best officials, the best judges, the best referees. Our shows run smooth. Nobody has any issues. And there will un- there will always be one or two things that happen,
Of
but when
course.
they do, we will take care of them immediately, and everybody is going to leave with a good experience, wanting to come back, and we're going to further grow that sport, both for adults and for kids as well.
Well, I think you've done a fantastic job over there, Mike, and I certainly appreciate your hard work, your loyalty, your discipline, and all that to get things done. I know that Casey also appreciates that. I want you to stick around for a minute, though, if you could.
Oh yeah,
I want to bring up Casey. I'm to chat with him. Then I bring both of you guys up together. Okay, ladies
thank
and
you.
gentlemen, let's hear it for Mike, the Knockout Ely. We'll be right back to you, brother. Hold on one second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it right there from Mike Ely. He's going to be back up in just a moment. Just want to chat a little bit with Mr. KC there, who's really excited about his event that's coming up only in a couple of weeks. Well, not a couple of weeks, about a month or so now. More than I want to say a couple of weeks, KC's going to have a fit. He's going to be, oh, wait a minute. I'm not ready yet. What are we talking about here? And everything. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's bring it up. The one and the only KC. D. Waters. What's happening, sir?
Good, good. Thank you for having me on. I'm going to actually back up a second. I want to talk about how this kind of progressed because really it started with the PKB. I come from California, Southern
Okay.
California area, and I was one of those guys who came up under smokers, came up doing the events where they weren't really done well at all, and there was no place else for us to fight.
Ah,
And I kind of watched Ryan Hodges and them bring the PKB huge in California, and it kind of changed my mind. There's a place for this in the sport, and Mike touched on it a lot, but it is very much a stepping stone to this sport and giving people a place to get in.
okay, we seem like we lost.
Um,
There he is.
the way this kind of came in, I moved out here, was kind of going crazy, not coaching or not doing anything. I've been involved in kickboxing since the early 2000s and Muay Thai mostly. But I came out here, got with a little gym. I shouldn't say little, very large gym, Tennessee Brazilian Jiu Jitsu out here, and I started their Muay Thai and kickboxing program. After about 6 months, some of my kids were like, "Where do we go compete?" So I started looking it up. I kind of got in contact with Mike, went out, took my kids, had a great show. He did great. And then I contacted Ryan and said, "Hey, I think I want to start holding some of these out here. There's not enough of them out here. I want a community
Mm,
of kickboxers. I want a place where every gym knows they got a place to go." Mike's a little over an hour away from me. I held my first one out here. I help Mike with his. He helps me with ours. We've held two or three or four now, and it just keeps growing and growing. And the cool thing about it is seeing the community actually really grow. All the
right,
gyms talk to each other. All the coaches know each other. Everybody communicates and talks and looks forward to the next one. And then after that, the kids kind of kept getting better. And I'm like, well, there's not a lot of full rules kickboxing out here with rings. There's a lot
right.
of guys who are hosting MMA fights and they have kickboxing matches in a cage. So
Right.
I just kind of made my mind up that I'm going to go get a ring and we're going to start doing it IKF style and do it right. So
Right,
the
right. Well, I was tell me a little bit. You said you you said we might have a little bit of a delay here. You said that you were doing you were around in California. Tell me the years that you were around in California.
I was fighting from 2002 to 2008 in California, and at the time I started, it was all smokers. There was no place for amateurs to fight,
Oh wow.
and it was pretty much you did an illegal smoker and you went and fought either an illegal smoker or you jumped in and fought pro. Been around the King of the Cage, Gladiator Challenge, WCK, all those events for years in Southern California. But when I was in my early 20s, there was no place to go that was safe, controlled. I mean, my first fight was in some roll up garage doors in the city of Industry in the back of an industrial center, and it was anything but safe. It kind of looked like something out of a movie. I wouldn't let my kid
Wow.
go there. I wouldn't take my kid there. I was in my 20s and it wasn't the smartest place for me to be, probably. But watching the IKF step in and then the PKB started, it started at first. I was like, well, that's not real kickboxing. That doesn't, what do you mean, no knockouts? And I was part of that. I was like, this is crazy. There's no knockouts. This doesn't make any sense. This isn't real fighting.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me. Thank you for all the stress.
Yeah. But, but then all of a sudden I started realizing, like, there is a place for this, and the kids do need to step in it. And Mike touched on it too. These kids, even the kids I coach, I've got a team I coach, Tigers Eye Muay Thai out here in Spring Hill. Great bunch of kids, but the ones who've gone on to compete in full contact events have all told me thank you. The PKB did so much for me. It kind of took the nerves away. I kind of
Mm.
knew what to expect. I kind of saw a crowd. I kind of got to get all that out of the way, and I think that's a big part of it that everybody misses. And I think just throwing a guy into a full contact fight when he's never been in one is not smart at all or safe for anybody. Um, and it
It is
goes,
amazing. It is actually amazing how we were just so comfortable with that culture for so long, right? And you got young kids like on the screen right now. We would just literally just hey, let the truck and throw them in there, and then I come along with this concept and this idea, right at probably 30 years ago, and saying, hey, no, this makes no sense, right? We need to have an incubator for these fighters, all right, and then that pretty much changed the game and all. But it's crazy how time changes, and even to your own admission, right? You were stuck. You
yeah,
were stuck in a place where it there's no such thing as semi-contact in Muay Thai and kickboxing, and it's designed for this. What do you think? I know you saw it, but what about it that really made you change? Was it watching your kids participate in it, like some of the kids I have on the screen here, or was it more about just a common sense thing that just kind of hit you a certain kind of way?
I would say both. I know of having it organized and seeing it ran correctly and seeing that it's safe. But really, I would say the growth in the kids. The kids that I took, and some of them weren't kids. Some of them were in their 20s or even early 30s. But anybody I took to it grew substantially quickly because they got to
Mm,
experience what it's like to be in a fight. They got to experience it safe. And then the other part of it is like the kids on the screen. I've had their parents come to me and I go, "You want to sign my kid up for a fight? What do you mean?" I'm
right,
like, "Hang on. This isn't a fight. This is a very organized place. Come watch. Medics are there. People are there. Your kid's gonna be safe. This is not. We're not going out into the woods and doing a kumite or whatever back in the day. This is actually good for the kids. They're gonna get some knowledge out of it. They're gonna get to watch a bunch of people compete. Where
right,
they have 20 guys in their gym. They see those same 20 guys. Two or three of them are real good. A couple of them aren't so good. A couple of them are mediocre, and they don't know where they fit in. Now they get to go see people at every level participate, spar hard, but safe. And
right,
it gets them a place where they can really kind of see there's levels to this sport. Okay, if I just keep progressing, I can get to the next level. Okay, I've done 3 PKBs now. hey, coach, what do you think? And we sit and we talk and make a decision on whether or not the two boys in the picture right there, the one on the left, Aiden, is actually on our fight card. He's
Oh, okay.
he's done 3 PKBs and he's gonna do his first. He's one of our team matches.
Do
So
you have like a gauge? Do you have a gauge like that, Kevin, where you put so many PKBs, make it mandatory? Because a lot of trainers have told me that they make it now mandatory for them to do so many PKBs before they step into the ring, which is obviously is why it was designed.
yeah, and I don't know if I have exactly like a set number, but
Okay,
I get a bunch of kids who come to me and go, Coach, I want to fight. I want to fight. I want. Well, hang on now. Let's go get you in a PKB or two. Let's see your composure. Let's see how you hold yourself together. Let's see how you feel. Let's see, does all your adrenaline run out of your body in 10 seconds? Can
right.
you kind of keep it together? And then I go by there. Like I said, Aiden's done 3 of them. All 3 of the ones he's done, he didn't win them all. He's won a couple of them, but his composure was there. He turned around, looked at me afterwards, smiled, and go, "When's our next one?" And I can't wait.
Right, because it's not really so much about like about winning and losing. It is about winning. I try to make it clear to people. It is about winning, but it's not about losing. It's about learning,
Yeah,
right? And as long as they are there and you are participating and you're working on your boxing, your kicks, your knees, your footwork, your head movement, you are indeed learning. And I guarantee you, when you go back to that gym, you're going to be 100% better than you were before. And that is exactly what we're looking for. You also have guys, though, that you work with that have already progressed, that they've gone yet to the next level and everything that I notice you've worked with as well. We have a picture coming up here where, you're in the cage working with some of these fighters here. I don't know where that was, if you still work with those guys or whatever the case might be. But did those guys do PKBs too, or they just went right into full contact?
that's Jonah Nova. He did about 3 PKBs. Now he's currently 3-0 in full contact.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what it's all about. It just makes so much sense. So
No,
much sense to me. And everything. What I want to do now, I want to, kind of go into your full contact show that you have coming up. First of all, what made you think that it was time to start a full contact promotion in Tennessee for Muay Thai and kickboxing in particular?
you can watch Joe Rogan and all these other shows, and everybody will tell you kickboxing and Muay Thai is probably one of the most exciting sports to watch. And I'm a little bit of a purist. I grew up in a ring. All my kickboxing was in a ring. I started taking my guys and go, let's start looking for full contact events and shows. And there's a couple promoters out here. Steve runs a Gogi. It's a very good promotion, very nice promotion. But if they have 14 fights, 7 or 8 of them are kickboxing in a cage. I want to
Mm,
see these guys back in a ring, and I want to see it focused on kickboxing. And if they're going to hold an event and half the event's kickboxing, let's just do a kickboxing event and show these guys what it's about. And you can be an MMA fighter who wants to come try your hand in stand up, and that's fine. But let's do it and show them what the sport started out as, in a ring, in a
right.
square.
What do you think the big difference of that is, from fighting from a cage to a ring?
Going on and on about it. I said, let's take it to the next level. I started looking and I found a ring, and then I started looking for a place, and it kind of just steamrolled. And I started talking to the coaches, and we announced it at a couple of the PKBs. We're thinking about doing this, and the outpour of support was huge. We've got some really good kickboxing gyms out here, and they just all said, "Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
we're in. Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it." They just kind of kept growing and growing and growing, and here we are, about 30 days away.
What do you think? You probably didn't hear that question. We have a little bit of a delay, but what do you think the big difference between fighting in a cage and fighting in a ring is? And what? Obviously, I think you prefer the ring more. It sounds like, but what do you think the biggest difference is?
I mean, it's a complete. Well, I think the spectators get to see better. I think that's one. Two,
I,
angles completely different. I came out of Sit Ramasoon, a traditional Muay Thai gym. Clinching against the cage and clinching into the ropes is no. It's two totally different tasks. I like I like to see a guy get teeped into the ropes and see how they react coming off of them. I like it when you corner
wow.
against the corner. There's never a corner in a cage. They just kind of keep doing that circle. And here in a cage, I can corner you, I can trick you, I can decide to throw something spinning or back, and that's what's going to catch you when you try to step out of that corner. I just think it's a completely
Right.
different world.
That's a very, very good analogy. That sounds like somebody who knows something about fighting right there. I mean, I mean, it is, hey, it's exactly right though. And people, listen, I know that we have ONE FC and everything now. And so they're in a cage and everybody thinks, oh, it's doing a cage. I said, well, you can do it in a cage, but the maneuvers that you do in a cage are totally different than what you can do in a ring
Absolutely.
and stuff, and you have to change your style. And look, go try to weave and bob on the cage. You know what I mean? It doesn't work out. You get stuck right there, and you get your face planted.
Well,
So
even the clinch. I mean, when you start leaning on a guy on the ropes, it's easier to turn a guy. You can lean back and bounce and kind of get your turn out. Those cages don't bounce. Those
they
cages
don't
just
they
stop.
don't bounce.
They don't
What,
bounce
what
at all.
and what about the ring rash that you could potentially get if you stay on that cage long enough?
Well, yeah, I'm bald, and I've been dragged down,
Ah!
and I've been dragged down that cage before. They don't feel good.
Right, right. I can only imagine. So let's talk a little bit about what you have coming up on June 27th in Nashville.
All right. So as we talked about it, kind of building up. Like I said, I started looking for places, and I was reaching out, and I found an amazing venue that's going to partner up with us. It's Plaza Mariachi. It's a huge, beautiful venue. It's got 5 restaurants inside of it.
Oh wow.
Sighting is the seating's amazing. There's a sky lounge where you actually sit and look down into the ring from above with a closed caption TV. The stage is great. Warm up's great. One of the things I want to bring these guys, and I I don't begrudge anybody or talk bad on anybody, but I want the fighters to get a little sense of what it's like to kind of feel special. And you go to
Mm,
some of these events, and they're like, "Hey, here's our cage, here's our ring. We're inside of a nice bar. Go in the parking lot and warm up in the gravel."
right,
There's maybe a tent over them. These guys are gonna. I'm bringing our PKB mats. They're gonna have an 18 by 18 warm up area in a room, separated. Blue corner separate, red corner separate. Ice and water for the fighters. I'm supplying all the stuff for their hand wraps. I want them to come out, get up on a stage, have their name called out by a good announcer, walk to the ring, and have their friends and family see them in a light that they don't normally get to see them in. I want them to feel special. I tell some of my guys, fighting's not a career that everybody's going to be able to continue on. They say the chances of making it to the NBA are 5% or 4%.
right,
They're trying to shoot a basket every time they get on the court. Well,
right.
every time you get into a ring, somebody's trying to hurt you. Your chances of
Mm,
making it are a whole lot lower than that. But this is going to be some of the most proud times and exciting times you're ever going to have in your life. So just like that picture you showed a minute ago at Jonah, I had a conversation with him. I'm all 10 years from now, man, when you're selling insurance, you're going to look back at these pictures and these could be the most proud things you ever did. You're going to be showing your kid these pictures and say, hey, I did that. And
right,
just even the kids who do a PKB are braver than 98% of the people out there. The
right,
guys who get in the ring in the cage, they need to feel special for doing it. So one of my big things is I want to put out a show that showcases the fighters. That's what we're there to celebrate and watch is those guys fight and to keep building the community. That's really what I'm trying to do here.
right, right.
And I
Well,
did.
I think it's a great thing. Tell me a little bit about some of the fights you're going to have on the card.
We've got awesome fights. I mean, I've got 3 teen fights. Talked about Aiden's going to be fighting. A couple of other guys are going to be fighting. I have Michael Cherry out of Chonburi Muay Thai fighting Mason Doyle from Wildside. That's going to be a great fight. That's for a welterweight state title. That's going to be an exciting fight. I've got Nate Hewitt versus Alan Esparza. That fight's going to probably set the place on fire. Both of these guys have been to all of our PKBs. Both of them are amazing fighters. That's going to be a great, great fight. I have Bongo, the fight pirate. Old friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. Has a tremendous record. He's our main event. He is going to be fighting uh, Damari Ray out of Kentucky, who is undefeated also. And that's going to be a pretty interesting fight. They're fighting at 172, but one guy's 5'9" and one guy's 6'3".
Oh wow. Well, let me just say really quick something about Bongo. Bongo is actually one of our, world champions. He had a world title in a lighter weight division, like 53
Yes.
right now. So he's stepping up a lot, two weight classes. So this could be a bit of a challenge, and he's had a little bit of a break. What do you think that this young man who's going to be fighting him? You think he might try to take advantage of that break and that weight difference?
I think he's used to throwing that weight around. I think he's going to go in there and try to definitely dominate Bongo. To be honest with you, Bongo doesn't get tired. That's where I
Yeah.
think it's going to be. I think it's going to be the later rounds. I think this guy's going to pour it on hot and heavy in the beginning, and we're going to see if Bongo weathers it and comes out on top. I think that's going to be probably fight of the night, if not one of the fights of the night. But I think we're pretty interested to see this one. I think that height difference, and I know Ray likes to kick, so
Oh,
I'm curious to see that one. I've
right.
actually,
What else you got?
what else I got? I got Anne Marie coming out of Phoenix MMA, and she is fighting Natalie. I've got a great girl fight. One of them will probably be fighting for a title in October. Our plans to do this again in
Oh, nice.
October. And then after October, I want to do 4 times a year. I want to get the IKF titles flowing in Tennessee. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I've got guys from Swift Kick coming out. I've got Sam.
Oh, with Bernard Robinson, we go a
Yeah,
long way back.
yeah,
We
yeah,
go a
yeah.
long way back.
I've got guys coming out from Arsenal. I've got a kid named Xavier Cox. Sorry about that. I got a kid named Xavier Cox who's 132 pounds, who's been to all of our PKBs, and he's exciting to watch. He's a
Oh wow.
super exciting kid to watch. And he's fighting Logan Sadat. That's going to be a pretty awesome fight. Arsenal's a real nice gym. They've got a bunch of good guys coming out of it too. I've got, I mean, really every team in Tennessee is pretty much involved with us. And I've got guys
Okay.
from Georgia, guys coming from Alabama, guys coming from Kentucky. Um, the outpour has been huge. Another one of Swift Kicks, we've got Parker Sparks, who's I think 3-0 right now. He's doing really, really good, and he's an exciting fighter, and he's coming in and going to look great. And he's fighting Isaiah Murphy out of Freedom Muay Thai, who's another pretty exciting fighter. So we've got about every size, shape, and everything else. And then I've got some heavyweights coming, and
Whoa. We got some big boys.
some big boys. Zachariah Teague, I want to say, is 265 or 275, and he's fighting Kevin Eason out of Chonburi, one of our local Muay Thai gyms. I think Kevin, they've said he's 6'5". I haven't seen him yet, but 6'5" is a big dude. So
Right. That is a big dude. Listen, so we got Mike back up on the screen right now, and Mike, what do you
I
think
want
about how is it working with Kevin? And he seems to be so motivated, so inspired. He seems to be pretty knowledgeable as well. What are your thoughts about this guy? Is he for real or what?
Well, so let me tell you, working with Kevin has been great. He is extremely motivated, and he means everything that he just said. It's something that me and him have talked about at length, especially when we met over the PKB, when he called me up and we started.
did we lose Mike?
Yeah, for a
Just
second.
all the stuff I wanted to hear. No.
He was
Guys to
saying so
feel
good.
like
There
they're
he
at
is.
the
Mike,
UFC. I want
hey
them to feel
Mike,
like
Mike,
this is their big
Mike,
shot, you
hey
know?
Mike, Mike.
And he's very good at that. We have found an amazing venue.
It's okay. Let him go. Mike, I was going to have you start over. You went off the screen for a minute, and then you came back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Am I here again?
Yep, start.
You're here. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Anyway, working with Kevin has been awesome. He really 100% means everything that he said. Uh, his main focus is taking care of the fighters and making sure that they feel like they are important, that they are valued, and that this to them should feel like they're in the UFC. And really with what we're doing with this show, oh my God, I think am I losing again? Did you guys
No, you're
lose again?
fine.
Okay. And what we're doing with this show is going to accomplish that. He went out and found an amazing venue. He has found we have worked together and brought together all of these teams Of course, some of the names you heard, Sean Burry, they have been to every single one of our PKBs. They have a huge fight team. They are an amazing Muay Thai school, very traditional. Damari, who's fighting Bongo, he's up out of Louisville. Crew Rock up there trains him, and Rock is an amazing crew, very traditional Muay Thai gym. And they, trust me, are going to bring a fight.
The
Uh,
Razor's Edge
Another
guys.
guy,
Razor's Edge guys.
yes, the Razor's Edge guys with Jamie out there in Manchester. That's where Caleb Mackey trains, Alan trains out there. Nick Merritt trains out there. Of course, Alan is fighting Mike Cherry out of Sean Burry for our state title. And that is, oh,
He's
wait,
fighting
no, I'm sorry.
here.
They're both fighting for state titles. Actually, the reason that happened in my mind, Alan and Mike Cherry did compete against each other in a PKB. Um,
Mm.
yeah, and it was a fun match. Trust me, I judged it. It was a fun match.
Right.
Talking
But
about it all at the PKB, those guys were already scheduled for my card. Came to the PKB, were coaching other guys, and they were like, "Well, should we jump in there and do it?" I think we should, and they jumped in and did it, and it was probably the show of the night that day. And
100%. Yeah.
Right.
And that,
And that's what it's all about. Go ahead,
yeah.
Mike.
Well, say what Casey had just touched on. That's something that we've both seen through this whole PKB scene. These gyms all end up coming closer together. These fighters all end up coming closer together, and it becomes a much bigger, friendlier uh, community with a lot of brotherhood in that community. These were guys from two different cities and two different gyms. They're like, hey, this was a match that was probably put together that morning, and it really probably ended up being the exciting match.
Right.
Nobody was hurt between two very competent fighters who started that match as friends and left that match as friends.
Right.
Another one of the gyms that are the names that Casey had mentioned, Natalie and Logan. They come from a gym, Knoxville Martial Arts Academy, KMAA. A very big gym. They're all over the fight scene out in East Tennessee. I'm very glad to have them out here in Nashville as well. I think they have a great team. Sean Burry, Crew Rock up in Kentucky, Manchester out there with
You better
Razor's
have
Edge,
your list. You better have
Arsenal.
your list. You better have your list ready.
We have
So
a
you don't forget
huge, huge
anybody.
call.
You start calling
Well,
names. If you forget
bro,
somebody, you're gonna be in trouble, buddy.
brother, I've been working on this card for weeks.
Now
I
he's
know
sitting
some of
up
these
there
names
thinking
better
now,
by
oh my
the
God, oh my God, who am I forgetting? When they see this
but
show, they're gonna say, "Wait a minute, you called everybody but me." I mean, what is up with that? But listen, guys, it looks like you guys have developed a great relationship. I know as IKF, and I will be at that show and as well, and be working with some of the officials and things as we get things rolling, rocking and rolling. We'll have some more trainings coming up over in the Tennessee area. That is what it's all about and going. Why do you think though? And we each one of you can take this and Kevin, you can start with this. Why do you think there was not more Muay Thai and kickboxing there before, but mostly everybody was okay with doing MMA? Is it because our sport is as exciting, or because we just simply didn't have people who were as interested in Muay Thai and kickboxing? What do you think, Kevin? The reason that it was not there before in more abundance. Way back in the day, it used to be way back, but it died. What do you think happened?
Here's what I think that way back in the day, everybody had a ring, and then MMA got big, and a bunch of promoters and a bunch of guys were having MMA in the ring. But the pros on TV had a cage, and everybody's like, "Well, I got to get a cage. We got to have a cage. We got to have a cage." And everybody sold their rings, got rid of their rings or whatever, and all these guys thought MMA was the way to go. And I just think it's kind of reverting back to where it's a little bit more all these jiu-jitsu tournaments, all these jiu-jitsu matches, all these different jiu-jitsu leagues are growing and growing. But not everybody wants to do jiu-jitsu only. Or not everybody wants to do jiu-jitsu. I've got guys who do both, but I got guys who just kickbox. And I think what
Right,
happened is everybody got rid of their rings and had cages, and there's still a heart of guys who want to stand up and kickbox, and that's why they just kind of ended up doing it in the cage. I think that the the sport didn't die; it never went anywhere. It became part of MMA, and then people just kind of forgot about it. and now it's kind of come back to full circle. And that's my whole thing is I want to do it in a ring the way it's supposed to be done and show people how it should be.
Right, and that's exactly what we're looking to. What do you think? What do you think, Mike?
Well, and I can tell you, of course, I'm from Tennessee. I've lived here most of my life, and I really what KC kind of hit the nail on the head. Uh, Around about 2008, everybody started getting rid of the rings and buying cages, and MMA became really the hot thing to do. You always had kickboxing on the card, but the MMA always became the focus. And one thing that we do have in Tennessee, but have not
Right.
had until IKF came back and we got the 27th up and running is actual Muay Thai. We do have the IKF unified rules, a lot of times referred to as K1 rules, kickboxing. That is fairly common throughout the state, but nobody here except for us that I'm aware of is doing real Muay Thai. And that is a distinction in and of itself, because if you're not familiar with real Muay Thai, there's a lot of differences between that and just kickboxing.
So the John Burry
Oh
gym
yeah,
has reached
huge.
me 2 times, and they're completely excited that they actually get to do a Muay Thai fight in Tennessee. All of their fighters who've got records. I mean, some of these guys have 6-3, 8-4, 5-2 records. They're
Yeah,
traveling all over to go do Muay Thai because there's none here.
yeah. Right, right. They're a serious team, and they, like I said, they've been coming around for a long time. As we wind down here, Kevin, tell people how they can get tickets, how they can watch it on pay per view, etc., etc.
So one thing, the name of the promotion is Top 10 Promotions, but it's
Hey,
TEN.
now wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute, Kevin. I want people to know that it has TN in there,
I was
and
doing
that is correct. That is not incorrect spelling. Could you make sure that people understand that that is not in there incorrect?
yes, it's Top TENN like Tennessee, Top Tennessee
Thank
Promotion.
you.
Top TENN Promotions.com. If you go on there, there's a link to purchase tickets. You can buy tickets through PlazaMariachi.com. Ticketon.com will also sell tickets. And there's a link on our website for the pay per view, which is going to be on millions.com also. One of the things we didn't mention, I'm trying to do as much as I can for these fighters and get them in there. Good friend of Mike's, good friend of mine is Sam Alvey, current Karate Combat heavyweight and light heavyweight champion. He comes to most of our PKBs and brings his MMA food truck. Super amazing guy. Half the time he can't make your sandwich because he's taking pictures with 15 kids. But he's actually going to come out and do our color commentary. So he's
Oh,
going to be
nice.
one of our announcers out there. He's going to be talking. We have one of the guys from the local radio station being our other announcer. So those two guys are going to color commentate and kind of bounce back and forth. It should be fun. I put a guy who knows kickboxing and a guy who knows nothing. We're going to see how that works out.
Could work out great.
It's it's going to be pretty cool, I think. And then I have a guy named Lapsley who's coming from North Carolina, I think, to be the announcer. Big, booming, deep voice, been on ESPN and everything else. Like I said, I want these guys to feel that Bruce Buffer voice, those lights on them, all the stuff. So this is going to be a great event.
Right, right. Well, it sounds
Nope.
this sounds really exciting, Mike. What would you want to add to that as we close out?
Well, I really want to key in too on what KC just said. Sam is a great guy. He's been coming out. I think he started at my second show with his food truck, and that's something that him and his wife do on the side, and they serve amazing meals. But he's been a big supporter of everything that we do with the IKF. He loves
Wow.
the PKB, big time supporter of that. And you know what? If this is your first fight, your first real fight, how awesome is it to have the Karate Combat heavyweight champion of the world commentating on your fight?
Right,
Really, if it's not even
right,
your first fight, it could be your fifth or sixth fight. It's still pretty awesome.
right, right.
We
Well,
really want
yeah,
to
go
make
ahead.
sure everybody has the best time they possibly can and put on the best show that we possibly can so that everybody knows what the IKF is all about.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thanks so much. I definitely appreciate that endorsement. I won't take the final word, so I'll give you one more shot at it here, Kevin, since you know you're the one, the promoter having the show. Most promoters always have something final to say. I give you last word, sir.
I'll tell you my final. I'll thank Mike for all the help he's given me, and I want to thank you, Johnny, for all the help you've given me. Like I said, I've been around this a long time.
Right.
I was at events with Steve back in the day for a very long time.
Wow. Yeah.
was all over Southern California. I've seen every promotion you can possibly see, from the good ones to the really bad ones. And I want to thank Johnny for just kind of helping out, kind of paving the way, kind of picking up the phone and having somebody you can call and go, hey, I've got a situation. What do you think? Somebody's there to help you out, because there's not really a guidebook or a rule book or a how to go set up an event. There's really no
Right.
book. We're all kind
Mhm.
of fumbling our way through this. And every once in a while, I call Mike or I call Johnny and we go, I'm not sure. That's a good question, Mike. And we called Johnny and he's usually got the answer. So I want to thank you for just giving us a place to do it, giving these kids a place to do it safe. And the biggest thing to me is IKF puts a lot of legitimacy in what we're doing. I could go call it top 10 promotions tomorrow, make my own belts, hold my own fight, and just say, hey, I'm top 10. I don't want that. I want to be part of something bigger, and I want to be in a community that's bigger. And I want these guys to have records that matter, and somebody can go and look them up on a website. And I think that's got a big part of why we're getting the following we're getting, is that it's not just these guys know they can go fight for a state title, an interstate title, a regional title, a national title, a world title. If these guys, the sky's the limit. If they want to keep doing it, we could end up in Vegas with a couple of these winners. I mean,
Exactly right.
it gives these guys something really solid to back on. And I stand proud saying, hey, I'm the representative for IKF. Come do my show, come do my event, and you're going to be taken care of. So I hold a lot of pride in that, and I thank you for that, and I thank Steve and his family for that. So
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Well, Tony Fossum is holding down the realm of their CEO and doing a great job. And I'm glad to be that support system for her as well. And so we find great people like you guys, right? You, Mike, and you, Kevin. We can only do it without people like you. Without people like you, we would not exist, right? So we appreciate all of the kind words, and we're gonna do whatever we can. You again, whatever support you need, we're gonna give it to you. We have everything in place to make any promoter successful if they're willing to put in the work. And I think you guys are putting in the work. But I want to thank you today for being on another edition of Johnny Davis Live. And we're going to talk to you guys again real soon, okay?
all right, thank you for everything. See
All
you
right,
on
talk
the
to you later,
Yeah,
guys.
have a
All
good one.
right, bye bye. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Kevin Rogers there doing his thing, along with Mr. Mike Ely, as they're getting ready for their huge show on June 27th there in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Plaza Malachi. Right, it's going to be a great event, guys. I hope that you will come out and support that. I'll be there. Hey, say hello to everyone, kind of getting everything rocking and rolling. But I think it's just going to be good for the fight community to certainly be there. All right, I'm going to take a few minutes here and I'm going to run through some of the other upcoming things that we have going on. I think is going to be information you want to know. In fact, I'm on my way today to Virginia, Virginia Beach, Virginia. We have a huge tournament coming up over there tomorrow. Well, I say not huge, it's a good tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun and all. And I think that people are going to enjoy themselves. That's what it's all about. I already mentioned to you about the ICAF World Classic, what's coming up there. But in September 13th, we're going to be in the Midwest, guys, for our Midwest regional tournament. We had it there last year. So much fun, man. It's a full contact event. We have semi and full contact going on at that event. It is really a lot of fun with Chris Lee and Sadiq Holmes putting that event together. Mark your calendars. I don't know if that's the same week that Canelo and Crawford is going to be fighting, but maybe, I don't know. We'll work it out. We're going to be there. We're going to be in the Midwest for a great event. Hope you guys will plan to come out. Obviously, in the fall is our ICAF Fall Classic that's going to be coming back up. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, is going to be October 3rd and 4th. Registration is actually going to start next week on that, the end of next week, around the 5th or so. Registration will be starting. You want to get in early so that you can get that top seed and everything. It's going to be a great event. We're going to have all the rule styles in there: freestyle kickboxing, international rules, unified rules, modified Muay Thai, and full rule Muay Thai. And as I just said, freestyle kickboxing is where you can actually have the little gloves and throw. They're not that little, they're 10 ounce, they're just finger out gloves. And you can actually throw people. We're going to have both of those in both of those tournaments you see on the screen. And also, it's a reason for you to stay up on ICAF events. ICAFFightPlatform.com is the place to go and see. Right now, by the way, you'll see maybe not as many events right there for some of the upcoming stuff because because we actually have two new websites that we're going to be feeding into the platform. So all events will eventually again be on the platform. We're in a transition right now with our PMT. They have a new website. PBSC has a new website and everything. So we're in transition. So we're just changing over, and you'll start seeing a lot of it. We have a ton of events going more than what's on the platform. But excuse me, but you're going to start seeing a lot of events. Also here in the Southeast, we're going to be working on some new programs. We have a lot more events that we're going to be doing here. Kind of had to take a little transitional break there here to get things up and going for the second half of the year and for 2027. Excuse me, 26. We're going to be rocking and rolling with a lot more PKBs again and a lot more fight nights and things like that. So we have plans in place to keep growing and keep things moving forward. Again, don't forget, registration is going right now for the IKF World Classic that's going on in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Westgate Casino. You guys need to make sure, right, that you come out and check that out. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want you to always respect each other. Forward march. This is Johnny Davis Live. And for today, I'm checking out, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye bye.